Hello everyone, this is Kythe with Planet Destiny, taking another opportunity to rant at innocent passerby about the maniacal machinations of an evil witch from space. After a series of arduous weeks full of mistrust, uncertainty, and an ever-looming sense of dread, the sun has risen again over the Earth's last city. While the return of day has certainly brought with it feelings of relief for the vast majority of the city's inhabitants, those with more intimate knowledge about the cause of the endless night, originally attributed to merely the Vex, may very well be left with more cause for concern than any semblance of solace. As the weeks of darkness went on, it became increasingly clear that another hand aside from the Vex was at work, puppeteering the machine spawn to enact its own desires, something previously unheard of. The discovery of a taken infestation rooted deep within the Vex network, combined with layers of hidden machinations at every turn, pointed to only one culprit, Savathun, the Witch Queen herself. As a member of the hive compound species, Savathun possesses an ever-ravenous worm within her body. This is not unusual, and as far as hive biology is concerned, is fairly common knowledge. The worms provide strength, and in some cases, near immortality for their hosts, at the cost of an eternal desire to devour light, one of the fundamental forces of the universe, most commonly sourced from the Traveler or its guardians. However, as one of the highest of the ascended hive, Savathun is capable of feeding on more than just light. The hive worms, whose progenitors predate the creation of the universe itself, are paracausal in nature, allowing them in certain cases to gain sustenance from means that are beyond the physical realm. Savathun, along with her siblings Oryx and Xivu Arath, are capable of growing stronger by enacting their own nature upon the universe. Oryx, formerly Oryx, the first navigator, grew in power by exploring that which had never before even been considered. It was this nature that allowed Oryx to slay Akka, the worm god of secrets, thus gaining the power to take and becoming Oryx, the taken king. Likewise, Xivu Arath is the hive god of war, therefore she grows in strength through the act of making war. Savathun, meanwhile, embodies deception and trickery. Each falsity she utters, taken as truth, is as a meal for her and her worm. The power gained from enacting their natures is such that it was capable of resurrecting both Xivu Arath and Savathun from true death when Oryx faced the Ecumene race. Yet despite the sheer magnitude of this power, the worms will never cease their cry for more. Savathun, desiring neither a chain nor a pool, set about devising a secret way to feed the worms of her broods. Thus she would escape the trap, in her modest cunning, which she prefers not to be overstated, so as to preserve her from the scorn of gossip. She gathered several of her ascendants who were in danger of being consumed by their worms. Then she pushed them through a rupture into a close orbit of a black hole. Deep in gravity's embrace, time passed slowly for them. "See how their worms are satisfied," Savathun said, "for their hunger grows sluggishly, but their servants continue to dispatch tribute at the ordinary rate." But the worms sensed the deception and increased their demands. Thus, the orbiting sacrifices were consumed, and their remnants fell into the event horizon, from which not even the hive might return. Despite the appearance of, and perhaps even the reality of, control that surrounds Savathun, she is in actuality on the same time limit that has followed her ever since she and her worm became one. As she continues to nourish the worm, its hunger will only grow until it eventually outstrips her capability to provide. It is for this reason that Savathun must find a solution for her worm before it devours her. The Witch Queen's previous attempt to solve this issue involves transporting the entirety of her throne world into a black hole, in an attempt to establish a more effective version of the tribute chain pioneered by Oryx. A system that ensures those at the top of the chain receive enough of a tithe to maintain and grow their strength. Due to the worm's ever-increasing hunger, however, such a system is doomed to eventually fail. As such, Savathun intended to use the time dilation that occurs past the event horizon of a black hole to make her tribute chain more efficient. Based on her continued existence despite her smaller number of conquests when compared to her siblings, it appears that this strategy is working for the time being. Regardless, a being as cunning as Savathun is always planning for future eventualities. As her flight controllers confirm the state of their technical domains, Mara looks out into space through the synthetic gaze of her sensorium. The hulls gleam in the stark blue-white light of the star, each ship a silver seed pod braced by immense structural members and cocooned in reservoirs of spectrally adaptive smart fluid, theoretically enough to survive the horrible forces of transit through a singularity. Mara orders herself not to crane her neck, but she does it anyway and gets a terrible cramp as she searches the sky for the distributary. There it is, the world of her rebirth. Shining water, blue and beautiful, wrapped like a gyroscope in its twin rings. World of laughing corsairs, world of breathless forest hunts, world of mountains flickering with pale Cherenkov fire, world of sweet berry-stained lips and mathematical insight pure as a rhodium chime. She will never see it again.
I remember everything about the day I was born. I still bear the scars. The Awoken are my family now. And I am their queen.
The Awoken, a beautiful, mysterious race of humanoids that appear almost elven in nature. Though most Awoken seen today are either Earth or Reef-born, their true ancestral home is much, much farther away. During the collapse, the light and dark traded blows of immense power. To be caught in between such powers is to be torn asunder, to be stretched into ribbons of flesh, to have one's consciousness ripped from their body and flung into the ether. For the passengers of the Yang Li Wei, colony ship fleeing Earth as the Traveler and Winnower clashed, this is exactly what occurred. The collision of light and dark created what is known in theoretical physics as a Kugelblitz, a black hole formed from a concentration of radiation so intense that it is capable of warping space-time. This Kugelblitz resulted in not only the creation of the Awoken, who were molded into their current shape through the will of Mara Sov and Captain Alice Lee, but also a pocket universe within which Mara created the distributary. The distributary was created to be a paradise upon which the newly born Awoken could prosper. Aside from the ideal conditions, time also flows at different rates within this pocket universe, allowing the Awoken civilization to thrive for thousands of years, while Earth struggled to recover from the collapse over mere centuries. This time dilation is key to the value of the distributary, as it is far more potent than any other known means of time alteration. Though it is unknown when Savathun became aware of the distributary's existence, it is clear what the value of control over a universe in which time moves faster would hold for one whose source of power relies on how quickly they can obtain tribute. If Savathun were to find her way into the distributary, the vastly increased rate of killing within the pocket universe compared to the outside universe would grant her immeasurable power. Enough power to accomplish a far more ambitious goal, changing the very nature of the sword logic itself to be based upon secrets rather than killing. This is the simplest and most logical explanation for Savathun's focus on the Dreaming City, as well as the time loop surrounding Dual Incarnu, Savathun's daughter. This answer is also supported by direct messages from Dual Incarnu and Queria. All evidence, when combined, leads us to know only one thing for sure. None of what has been mentioned thus far is Savathun's final goal. While it is entirely possible that the benefit of time dilation or the transformation of the sword logic may be of value to the Witch Queen, the simple fact that we are aware of and possess supporting evidence of these plans indicates that they cannot be her endgame. As a creature embodying deception itself, the only certain truth we can be sure of is that she would not show her hand so easily. From the Dreaming City's curse to the endless night to seemingly stalking the streets of the city herself in human form, Savathun's deeper machinations remain a mystery, with every wrong guess as to her true intentions further fueling her power. Though she is, in appearance at least, being countered thus far, it is only a matter of time until blind luck and brute strength are no longer a match for her cunning. And with the city as it is, a metaphorical powder keg of mistrust and conflict, humanity and its allies may be unable to rally in time to survive her next move. I walk through the city on broken legs. I am conspicuous, but the people here grant me many affordances. I chose this form well. I sway and catch myself on a low stone wall. I am ready earlier than anticipated, but I must still learn the next step. I look up toward the false dusk I have hung, but it is not yet finished. I am afraid, but it is thrilling to engage in something new after all this time, something unknown. I close my eyes tightly so they do not bulge. The feeling passes. I open my eyes and search the faces of the people around me for familiarity. I didn't mean to. I twist inwardly with disgust. When they first reached for me, I reached back in acid mockery. and they opened themselves to me in stupid, naked innocence. I was giddy. My fingers raked their minds. I forced my will through them using only words and met no resistance. Their naivety was beyond description, and I feasted until my eyes welled with black tears. Now I reach as often as they do, and when they reach back, I am thankful. I speak with them. I seek their company, their companionship. This is not pity, for I know pity. What is this? I drop to both knees, clear my mouth, and vomit. The thin black fluid turns to vapor and disappears. I clench the gangling black mass that threatens to unspool recklessly from within this shell of flesh. My new arms are too thin, too weak. My new shell still bound with thick mucus. Not yet, I say. A moment of blackness, and then a man places his hands on me, on my shoulders, on my back. He asks if I am ill, and he sees my flat eyes, my teeth black with ripeness. He prepares to scream. I let him keep his mind. I push breath up and through my ruined mouth and speak a simple lie. He stops, smiles, laughs, shakes his head. He points a finger at me in mocking admonishment before walking away. I swallow the fatty morsel of his ignorance, and it gives me the strength to stand once more, cover my face, and resume my walk. I feel this form splitting beneath its wrappings, held together weakly by wet strands of sinew, and from deep inside, stirred by that latest scrap of deception, I hear the oily growl of the worm. Even here, basted in deception both ample and rich, the worm cries ravenously. It has grown grotesque, skin taut, overfed, and still it howls for more. It commands me to keep it alive. I look up, beyond the flickering net of darkness, and see what rests just beyond, waiting for me. The worm roars. Though the sun shines again over the last city, the return of day has only shown us how dark the remaining shadows truly are. Humanity's streets no longer belong to just humans. The Eliksni, unfortunately still more commonly known by the moniker of Fallen, appear to be a permanent addition to the city after House Light's assistance in finding and seemingly destroying Queria, the taken Vex mind at the source of the Endless Night. While the Vanguard and several legendary figures such as Saint 14 have been willing to work with the Eliksni toward the prosperity of all, there are still those that cannot bring themselves to overcome the sins of the past. The most outspoken and well-known of the dissenters was, of course, Lakshmi II, representative of the future war cult. However, she is far from the only one showing a more negative outlook on the prospect of interspecies relations. From verbal harassment on the streets to vandalism and outright violent attacks, the Eliksni face a difficult road ahead as they attempt to establish themselves among a people raised to hate and fear them. For these individuals, it may appear that the city leadership, specifically the Vanguard, have sold out humanity to invaders, regardless of the Eliksni's stated intent. Spurred on by Lakshmi's predictions of an imminent invasion of the last city, the divide between Eliksni sympathizers and opposers continues to grow ever wider, despite the return of the sun mollifying some of those who are as of yet undecided. To make matters worse, Savathun's song, a viral chant that can never be unheard, has wormed its way into the city's population, disguised as a song of hope. The long-term effects of the song spreading are as of yet unknown, but doubtless there will be consequences. And now, during this turmoil, at a time where the city is at its weakest since the Red Legion's occupation, one of humanity's greatest heroes and assets.
Have you heard the song of the people echoing through the city? Rise up as one, march toward the sun. People of the last city, we have endured many great tragedies thanks to our strength and a steadfast commitment to humanity. The Traveler chose us. It abandoned the fallen because they are unfit, unworthy of the light. They would take it from us if they could. The Vanguard have lost their way. They embrace the darkness. Welcome Aramis's followers into our midst with open arms. Force us to celebrate our lost heroes alongside those who murdered them. Yes, the endless night is over. But now, Misraaks and his house will use this opportunity to do what the Fallen have always done. Covet, cheat, steal, kill. I have seen the future with my own eyes, and it has not changed. Doom still builds on our horizon like a terrible storm. But there is hope. Right now, loyalists to the future war cause and new monarchy have rounded up the Fallen in our city. With the aid of Osiris, I have learned how to safely command the power of the Vex. I will use it to do what the Vanguard will not. I will tear open a rift, banish the Fallen to the depths of space from where they came. We alone will save humanity. I have seen the darkest of futures. And with this act, I will... No. No!
Weeks after the problem of the Endless Night was solved through a combination of Eliksni and Guardian effort, all hell broke loose within the last city. Driven mad, either by her own paranoia or Savathun's influence, Lakshmi opened a portal within the Eliksni quarter of the last city, unleashing the Vex in full force. To make matters worse, according to her final broadcast before being gunned down by the Vex, it was Osiris that showed her how to perform this act. It did Osiris no extra favours when it was discovered that, following the Vex's invasion being repelled by Eliksni and Guardian working together again, the former Warlock was nowhere to be found. Should anybody have been observing the battle, it was easy to notice Osiris doing the same before slinking off over the rooftops when the city's defenders began gaining the upper hand.
The Guardian has broken their portal! Keep behind us! We will not let them harm you! Stand, friend! You will not fall today! If we do not survive, this is the story Eliksni will tell of the saint standing beside us. And you with me, Kell of cows. Together, we are enough.
More than enough.
It is clear that Osiris was involved in some manner regarding the Vex's invasion, but the question is, why? With documents indicating that Savathun has been taking human form, a dark possibility is illuminated. What if Osiris never came back from his investigations aboard the Dreadnought? With Sagira's death and the severing of Osiris' connection to the light, there could have been no better opportunity for the Witch Queen to plant herself as an imposter among us, in the guise of one of our most trusted allies. Still, despite the apparent deception, Ikora holds faith. All she asks is that Osiris return and explain himself, but thus far, that has yet to happen. Despite it all though, despite the deaths, the mistrust, the betrayal, it appears that the city has come out stronger for its struggles. In defense of all who live here, mankind and Eliksni fought side by side. An uneasy, but seemingly stable truce has emerged as the dead are mourned and the living are cherished. If driving us apart was truly Savathun's goal when she infiltrated the city, then at least for now, she has failed in her attempt. If this truce, along with the ceasefire with Empress Kythe, can last, if those touched by the Traveler or scorned by the Hive can unite under one banner, then it could be ensured that the sun will always rise again. The air up on the wall was thin. Lakshmi was right about that. Misraaks stood in silent observation of the memorial above the main concourse. He leaned against an iron railing, watching guardians and citizens alike moving below, Eliksni with them. A dreg approached the memorial and led his child to stand among the mourners. Urged forward by a gentle nudge, the child gingerly placed a gilded eggshell at the memorial's base. Gold soldiering sealed a myriad of fractures, making a once broken egg whole again. Misraaks' throat tightened at the sight. It was a memorial for a child, lost. The walkway behind Misraaks groaned as Saint 14 cut a large silhouette against the clear sky. Shoulder to shoulder, they stood. Neither spoke. They watched as Ikora and Zavala conversed with departing mourners. The dragon, his son, approached with a bittersweet smile. Ikora made certain to introduce them to Zavala. Big, stern, stoic Zavala took to one knee and spoke to the child, eye to eye. "I never thought I'd see the day," Saint finally said, unable to look away. Misraaks responded not with words, but with a fluttering, purr-like rumble, and mirrored Saint's posture. "Do you think this will hold? An alliance, fragile like glass, held in a fist?" Saint asked. "Only the great machine knows what will come from over the horizon. We must be content with our own limited perspectives," Misraaks said with conviction. Saint nodded. Down below, Amanda Holliday drew their attention as she knelt before the memorial to light a candle. She stood and stepped back, lingering. Misraaks and Saint watched in silence as she rose up on her toes and began scanning through the crowd, as if she were looking for someone. She gently pushed through the throng of people and reached out to another mourner in a white cloak. Both recoiled in surprise, Amanda seemingly apologizing to the cloaked woman at some misunderstanding. They exchanged brief words, awkward laughs, and sympathies. When Amanda caught sight of Lord Saladin, however, she took her leave and disappeared into the crowd. Mourners parted around the Iron Lord, respectful of his space and reputation as he laid a handful of spent shell casings at the memorial with reverence. The offering's meaning was lost on Misraaks. When Saladin rose from the memorial, he turned and looked up at the pair on the overwatch. His face cast in shades of doubt, remorse, and uncertainty as he quietly departed. "I do not know that one," Misraaks said with a look to Saint. "He seems unhappy." Saint slowly shook his head. "Lord Saladin," he clarified. "He has lost many, lost his heart, his hope, lost so many. He believes he stands alone, even when surrounded by others. I understand his pain. I see," Saint thinks about how Osiris would describe it, "his cautionary tale." Misraaks heard the ache in Saint's voice. "And how are you?" Saint tensed at the question. The railing in his hand creaked as his grip tightened and bent the metal. "I am fine," he lied. "Indeed," Misraaks said with his best affectation of sarcasm, then placed a hand on Saint's shoulder. "It is not above a warrior's station to feel pain. Not above a warrior's station to express spirit wounds." Misraaks' grip formed on Saint's shoulder, reassuring, stabilizing. "Not above a warrior's station to break." Saint nodded in half-hearted agreement. "I should go," he said in a tone Misraaks didn't quite understand. "Thank you, Kell of Kells. You are a true friend." "Go well, Saint," Misraaks said with concern. "Find your lost phoenix." And with that, the sun has set on Season of the Splicer. Who knows what mysteries lay in store in the coming months before Witch Queen. Once again, I'm Kythe with Planet Destiny. Make sure to like, subscribe, and put your own theories in the comment section below. I'll see you in the next crisis.